staying with football, going on to the next thing, but we're gonna ask the question. I mean, yes, they lost. And, it was very uncharacteristic of how they lost. Especially from what we've seen from the Go Happy Panthers throughout the season. How good do y'all think the Panthers can be moving forward? I mean, think about it. They had this season relatively with now their number one receiver who would have helped big time in that game, and without Kelvin Benjamin, and you see that they have that experience of being in the Super Bowl, and they have that hunger, and you would assume that hopefully they can keep their core intact for the team to make a run next year, just as Seattle did a few years ago. So how good do y'all see being the team? See, there goes a guy with his Panthers right now. He's going with pride. But how good do y'all see the Panthers being moving forward? Rashad, let me hear your take. What do you think?
See, what you're saying with this drive thing, I completely understand a team with drive, because after we lost our junior year in high school in state, our drive to go back senior year was incredible. Like, that's all we was like, yo, playoffs. There's no such thing as playoffs. If it ain't the championship game, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So that's how that drive is going to be there for the Panthers, no matter who's on that team. That drive is going to be there if they were still on this team this season. The thing is, you have a lot of healthy teams coming back in the NFC who are very competitive, who are actually like teams preseason Super Bowl picks, with like the Cowboys and like the Green Bay Packers with a fully healthy offensive attack.
Yeah.
Then you got Seahawks again, and then you got the Cardinals again, and then you always got the other team who's going to come up, and that changes every year.
It could be Minnesota.
It could be Minnesota.
Could be the Redskins.
It could be the Redskins.
Who knows?
You never know. The NFC is a tough conference to go to the Super Bowl back-to-back years. That's why you got to commend the Seattle Seahawks for doing it with 3 straight seasons. Two straight seasons.
They went to the.
They beat the Broncos and lost to the Patriots.
Yeah, they beat the Broncos, lost to the Patriots, and they lost this year. And I think the year before that's when they got knocked out in the first round by the Saints. I think it was either when they got knocked out in the first, because that year was when the 49ers went. Yeah, go on.
So you got to convince something like that to go back to back. That's not an easy task to do. But their drive for a team this young, this hungry now, because they feel like they should have won this game. They feel like this was their time. Everybody was like, this is Cam Newton's time. This is the Carolina Panthers' time. They're 15-1. This is their time.
Yeah.
I don't see 15-1, but I see a highly competitive team coming in the playoffs next year. I see them easily winning that division.
All right, Khalid, what do you think how good the Panthers will be next season?
I agree with Rashad. I do think that their loss in the Super Bowl didn't hinder them. It's more so a learning experience. They know to do. They kind of like know how to adjust against Super Bowl defense like that. And I know next year they'll probably come back with a drive to tackle strong defenses like that. And maybe even go for the Broncos again if the Broncos can make it. So I do think that they'll be a very strong team next year. NFC, they do have strong teams and do change throughout the season. But I feel like with the Panthers staying the way they are and with the motive, the drive they have right now, I do think they'll be very successful next year.
So these are the odds that I saw on ESPN for people's odds to win the next Super Bowl. And as it stands right now, New England's in a 3-way tie with Seattle and Pittsburgh. They're both 8-1 favorites. Then Carolina's 10-1. And then Carolina's tied for 10-1 with Arizona and Green Bay. Then Denver's 14-1, and then Cincinnati's 14-1. I agree with y'all that I feel like their drive will be there. But the only thing for me is that's the same way we felt about Seattle this year, wasn't it? When Seattle lost to New England on that goal line play last year, and everybody was talking about how they felt like they had unfinished business because they should have given the ball to beast mode at the goal line. And everybody thought Seattle would have been back this year because Seattle looked like the most complete team, especially adding Jimmy Graham. But then you see the first few games, Cam Chancellor's not there. Marshawn Lynch couldn't stay consistently healthy. Then Jimmy Graham goes out, and then Russell Wilson goes on this tear coming late in the end of the season, and then they get knocked out by the Panthers inevitably in the playoffs. But, you know, we all thought they would come back. I mean, who knows how many more runs the Seattle Seahawks would go on, but it's one of those things that you just don't ever know when you'll be back. Like, we thought that Cardinals team a few years ago that played the Steelers would be back, you know, after Kurt Warner led them there. And then we felt like they've been a good team, you know, for the past 2 years or so, that's 2 to 3 years, that they've been good enough a team to get to the Super Bowl, and then they haven't made it since.
Those teams have been fairly hurt too.
Yeah, they have been hurt. You're right, they have been hurt, but that's one of the things that plays into it though, is your health. Your health plays it. I mean, can we say without a doubt that if the Patriots didn't get hurt so badly this season, they wouldn't have went back? Because think about it, the Patriots were undefeated when they were healthy, fully healthy, but then they lost so many players that they lost home field inevitably because they lost so many players that they just couldn't keep it up at each position. And then so they lost home field to Denver. So they have to go to Denver to play Denver there. And then without you still weren't fully healthy in the playoffs. I mean, you did get Julian Edelman back. You got Daniel Amendola back, but you still didn't have Dion Lewis, and you didn't have some of your defensive players that stopped the run so that you could have limited C.J. Anderson and whoever else from running the football. So that plays a part in it. So, I mean, as we've seen that even the Panthers starting out the season, their health stuff, I mean, their best wide receiver wasn't healthy to start the season. I mean, it just so happens that they found talent in people like Corey Brown. And I mean, everybody's always known that Ted Ginn Jr. was a speedster, but we even seen that Ted Ginn Jr. sometimes can drop catches, as we saw yesterday. He dropped a couple of passes. That one of them was a pass that Cam Newton rocketed to him to get it into him, and he let it go right through his hands, and it was picked off. So you look at things like that, and you're just like, well,
I think that throw position where they was at for that when that happened.
Yeah, exactly.
It was a scoring range.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. They either like got a field goal or a touchdown out of that. If Ted Ginn Jr. catches that ball, who knows how far he can go with the run, because he had Green in front of him. The only dude that was gonna be in front of him was the dude that picked off the pass, and that guy was at an angle that Ted Ginn Jr. could have outran him. So you look at plays like that, and you sit there and you think, man, like if for a team to get back to the Super Bowl, it's one of the hardest things to do in professional sports, is to get back to the Super Bowl. That's why if the Seattle Seahawks would have went back at this year again, it would have been one of the biggest accomplishments in sports history, because to get back to 3 straight Super Bowls is no small feat. Even the Patriots weren't able to do it. I mean, the Patriots won it within in the early 2000s. They were constantly going to the Super Bowl, but going to 3 back to back is difficult. It's not like the NBA.
Your team changes, the teams around you change.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's not like the NBA where we can see LeBron. Because I mean, the NBA is where one player can have that much impact. You know, the NBA where you can see Jordan or LeBron or Kobe and Shaq reel off 3 back-to-back NBA Finals appearances. I mean, LeBron's been to 5 straight, and people are assuming it's going to be a 6th this year. So the NFL is a different game because there's so many facets to it that one player can only do so much. And
also you got to take in fact that NBA is 7 games.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
like
7 games.
As you saw do we honestly think the Panthers will have another bad game like this if they play the Broncos again? Like this terrible. I don't see the Panthers playing this terrible again. If they played again today. If it was a
7-game series thing type thing, I think the Panthers would be like, hey, like we didn't make the plays ourselves to beat them. Like we had drop passes, Cam missed throws. The refs played a part in it to an extent, but they allowed sacks. They had too many turnovers. They didn't capitalize on turnovers. There was a couple of plays that we thought Josh Norman had a pick, and then he didn't catch the ball. Yeah, you know what I mean? So I mean, that's an interesting question, actually.
That's why I like the NBA. Like, you have one bad game in the NBA.
Yeah, that's
okay.
In the NBA,
you can lose the first game and then still win 4 straight.
Yeah, and we saw with the Warriors.
The thing with the NBA is they get home field advantage too. They get to play in their own state.
That's true. That's very true. And yesterday, it felt like, even though it was a neutral field, I mean, it felt like there was way more Denver Bronco fans there. Like, I feel like the cheers I was hearing was, Denver's closer to San Francisco than Carolina is, so it's obviously easier for those fans to travel than Carolina fans to travel all that way. But that's actually great. So if y'all feel like, I mean, we know it never will happen, but just hypothetically speaking, how much different do y'all think these games would be if there was 7-game series type games? I mean, that's a lot of work on a football player's body. But imagine that if you get to play Carolina 7 times, if you're Seattle, if Minnesota gets to play you 7 times.
Yeah, 3-game series.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. Like if Minnesota gets to play Seattle 3 or however many times, 5 times if you're going to a 3-game series, that's interesting.
I think it would be so different.
Really? Yeah, it would be different. That's actually an interesting question. Actually, I really wonder that. We should probably ask that sometime in the future. But